Moving on to our next event, I will be introducing our speaker, Chris Tavarez. Since 2012, Chris has been a sports reporter for Austin's KXAN. His first experience in journalism came when he first started writing for the sports section of the Daily Texan here when he was at the University of Texas. And from there, Chris got an internship in the sports department at KXAN. After graduating, Chris's first job came as the weekend sports anchor at KLST in San Angelo. And from there, he moved to Lubbock, where he held the same job at KLBK, covering all things Texas Tech, before he was able to return to Austin. Please help me in welcoming Chris Tavarez.
Hey, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Awesome. Well, hey, and just wanted to say congratulations to all of you on getting accepted to UT. I personally didn't grow up a Longhorn. I don't know what all your backgrounds were, but it wasn't until my brother got into Texas in 2003 that I became a diehard, and I've been bleeding burnt orange ever since. I first moved to Austin in 2007 for my freshman year at UT, did my 4 years at Texas. Then, as you just heard, I moved to West Texas for a couple of jobs. I was only gone for about 11 months, and then I was lucky enough to come back to what I consider home in Austin back in the summer of 2012. As you heard, I'm a sports reporter for KXN, which is the NBC affiliate here in town. And if any of you are wondering, Jim Spencer is as amazing and fantastic as all of you could ever imagine. I've been lucky enough to let my job have me travel all over the country. Some of the things that I've done, I was there for Tom Brady's win in the first and only overtime game in Super Bowl history. Right there is a souvenir I have from that. I've been courtside at Madison Square Garden. I've seen LeBron James play in the NBA Finals. I asked Michael Phelps a question at the U.S. Olympic swim trials. Got in a question with Tiger Woods when he was playing at the Dell Technologies match play tournament here in Austin. And I've been on the field and on the court and at a ton of different Texas football, basketball, baseball games, swimming and diving. It's been a really, really cool, fun job. I'm super lucky to have it. I graduated from UT in May of 2011, and I don't want to be that guy, but back in my day, it was the top 10% that got automatic acceptance to public state universities. But even with that, I was still on the outside looking in. I was in the top 13%, and I had to work my butt off on my application to try and give myself any hope of getting in. I spent months writing the essay. I even found a way to get into Boys State, and that was before Apple TV made it so cool to be so lame. And I worked so hard on my application to try and get in. And I was pretty optimistic that I'd fooled the admission folks into actually letting me into UT. And I remember one day in the spring of 2007, there was talk going around my high school. I'm from the Houston area, went to Klein High School in the northwest suburbs of Houston. And there was talk going around that Texas was going to be releasing who got in around midnight that day. And I don't know who found out, how they found out, if it was true, if it was a rumor or anything, but I was desperate to get into Texas. So I made sure that come midnight, I was going to be in front of my computer and I was going to be hitting refresh until I saw either an admissions result that I got in or I didn't get in, or it turned out to be just a rumor. So I'm upstairs at my parents' house, sitting in front of the computer, just hitting refresh constantly. And after I hit refresh one time, the computer screen looked just a bit different than it had all the times before. So I checked it again. I did a third check, and then I found out my dreams had come true. I got into Texas. So I am at home around midnight, just screaming. I'm shouting in pure elation, and I start running downstairs to my parents' room, and I'm screaming down the stairs. I'm yelling, I'm happy. I bang on their door and I start screaming, I got in. And I scared the hell out of my parents. They had no idea what was going on. They thought either someone was breaking into the house or they'd already gotten in and they were about to kill me. But once they heard me say, I got in, then it was just pure joy for all of us. And because of how much that moment meant to me, a moment that I'll never forget, I want to say congratulations again to all of you on getting accepted to Texas, because it is such an amazing, incredible thing. And you and all your families should be celebrating, hopefully not with some fear beforehand. And hopefully it wasn't as dramatic as when I found out I got into Texas, but you should celebrate. not only because you got into Texas, but because of all that we've gone through collectively in the past year. We've had that winter storm just a couple of weeks ago that completely wrecked the state. We've got the pandemic that has brought the world to a halt and is the reason we're having to do this virtually instead of getting to celebrate in person. And the country's also going through a massive social justice reckoning, and we're having to rightfully question so many of the institutions and things in our everyday lives because of it. I'm the son of an immigrant. My mom was born in Portugal. She didn't move to the States until she was 12 years old, and she didn't know any English. My dad, on the other hand, is a fourth or a fifth generation Texan. He's lost count, and but that's on his dad's side. His mom herself was an immigrant from Mexico, and I've had a complicated relationship with being Hispanic, my Hispanic heritage. For the longest time, I was always a lot more proud to be Portuguese, partially because I like to be a little different from the rest of the crowd, and you just don't have a whole lot of Portuguese folks in Texas. But also, I felt this weird shame about not being white. I used to scrub my arms when I was in the shower so hard, hoping to just kind of scrub the darkness off of my skin and reveal that I was white underneath. And it took a long time for me to embrace my melanin and my Hispanic heritage. And it's an ongoing process. And part of that process is me being here speaking to all of you. So I want to say thank you for letting me be here and talk to you and congratulate you on being part of the UT class of 2025. And I can proudly say right now that it is an amazing time to be Hispanic. As the country continues on with the social justice movement, it's learning to not only embrace different cultures, but people are becoming more accepting and wanting to learn about cultures other than their own. And it's also allowing for people like me to embrace my own culture and my history and the background even more. And that is something that is so important. You are who you are. You can't scrub away who you are in the shower. You can't change it. And to be able to celebrate your background and your culture and where you came from is such an amazing and powerful thing. And I hope all of you are able to do that. And just being here right now, part of this event is an example of that. And I think that's super fantastic. So again, congratulations. And while it's unfortunate that it took me so long to get to this point, at least I have. And hopefully, again, all of you are already there. And as I'm sure all of you have heard, it's been in the news a whole bunch. Our beloved university is also going through a bit of social justice reckoning. It wasn't until 1999 that Texas erected its first statue of a minority on campus. That was the MLK statue. We saw a bunch of it in the slideshow before that's on the East Mall. And it wasn't until October of 2007, my freshman year at UT, that they erected the first statue of a Latino, and that was Cesar Chavez. Slowly but surely, progress is being made both on campus and across the country, and all of us can help to not only continue that progress, but accelerate it. University of Texas is obviously a massive school, and it can seem super daunting and intimidating from the outside, but there was one thing that I did that I hope all of you will do as well once you get on campus, and this one thing shrank it to the size of a small liberal arts school, and that was simply just going to office hours and meeting with your professors. And before I even did that, I did some homework, and not the homework that these exact same professors were assigning me. My freshman year, before I went to go meet with one of my history professors, I did some research, looked him up on the UT website, and I found out that he went to Yale. So fortunately, the summer before I went to Texas, the summer between senior year of high school and freshman year at UT, my brother and I did a road trip across the entire country. We went up and down the eastern seaboard, and we had to stop in New Haven, Connecticut, where Yale is. So we checked out the campus. We went to the Yale Bowl, their football stadium, and I bought a souvenir from Yale, and it was a Yale football shirt. So because I'd seen that my professor went to Yale, I wore that Yale football shirt before I went to his office hours to meet with him. And the first thing we ever talked about was him asking me why in the world I was wearing a Yale football shirt. So that gave me an in. I made an impression, and it made a huge difference. Throughout the rest of the semester, in one of those massive theater-style lecture halls that you see on TV and in the movies they exist, and Texas has them, the professor would ask questions and students would raise their hands, and he'd just call on them like you or whatever. But whenever it came to me and I had my hand up, he remembered my name and he called on me by name. And it gave me that small college feel that people said you can't get at a massive place like UT, but I was able to do that because I did the work and I went to my professor's office hours. And because of building relationships like that, even though I wasn't in the top 10% in high school, to get into Texas and guarantee my acceptance, my first semester at UT, I got a 4.0. And that just shows that hard work can do it for you. Hard work inside the classroom, hard work outside the classroom. It just takes some being smart and some hard work. And I also want to tell you that don't be stubborn when you get to Texas. You have so many incredible opportunities. I came in wanting to be a history major that would go on to law school. And instead, I stuck with history, but I discovered how truly, deeply I love athletics and sports. And I started writing for the Daily Texan, and that got me an internship, and that got me this job that has been incredible and given me so many opportunities. And it was because I didn't go in with a narrow mind, and I tried to take advantage of everything that UT has. So shout out to anybody who wants to be a journalist or write for the Daily Texan. I would highly encourage it. And of course, what you learn in the classroom is so incredibly important, and that's what will ultimately get you that little piece of paper that says you graduated, that you will frame and put on your bedroom wall because you're so proud of it. But I think just as important, if not even more so, is what you learn outside of the classroom. College is a melting pot of all kinds of people from different backgrounds and cultures. You'll befriend people from all over the country, from all over the world. You'll meet people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. You'll meet people that are straight and gay and bi and trans, white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, conservatives, and liberal. Or you can insulate yourself and not meet anyone who is different from you. And that would be a giant disservice and so incredibly disappointing, because you would not be taking advantage of all the amazing opportunities that you have at a place like UT. You're all at an incredible point in your lives. You have so much endless possibilities lying in front of you. Enjoy it, take advantage of it, have fun doing it. And again, congratulations on getting into Texas. Thank you for letting me be here to speak with you. Hook 'em.
Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your experiences and helping us welcome these incoming Longhorns.